My fellow brad and pin nail aficionados, every time you pull out your nailer, do you have a slight bit of embarrassment for you know what the woodworking Illuminati are going to be saying about you? Do you tell yourself, oh, I'm just using these until the glue dries, as if you actually do plan on taking them out in the future? On every single nail insertion, are you wondering, how am I going to fill that hole? Do I use glue and sawdust? Do I buy expensive fillers? Do I sand down a piece of walnut so the hole is slightly darker? Well, today, I'll show you a better way to hide your shame. We all know the problem. You have a piece of trim, you want to attach it. A lot of times you put a bead of glue down, you'll position it just where you want, and you'll come over with your little tack nail and give it a little pop. But look at that. Even from 5 feet away, you can now see that big ugly spot. And how do you fix that problem? Because the woodworking Illuminati will frown upon you. Well, the solution can be found with your gouges. Just look for either your V-gouge or just a very, very tight regular gouge. If you pre-plan where you're going to need to put your nails, you can come in with your gouge and just scoop out a little section. And if at all possible, leave that chip attached to the wood. Just scoop it out. Then you can come back in and actually place the nail underneath that chip. Then carefully administer a little bit of glue right underneath that chip and lay it back down. And as soon as the glue tacks up, give it a little light sanding. The end result looks pretty clean, and when you put finish over it, it'll blend everything in. A lot better than having that big old nail head. If this is your first time doing this technique, I do suggest you practice on a piece of scrap. And if you're starting a new project with new species, try it out on scrap too. Because certain species react differently to how the carving gouge and the chip comes out. Some species like white oak and stuff might splinter a little bit, and you'll have to deal with that. Since today we were talking about hiding fasteners, for the bonus, let's talk about somebody who doesn't use fasteners. Or at least he didn't in his last project. James Wright. He runs Wood by Wright YouTube channel. It's not a small channel. He has over 400 videos out there, and he's basically a hand tool woodworking kind of guy. And he did one of his few long-term multiple episode projects, kind of finished it up this last week, where he built a little side table. Yeah, I know, lots of people build little side tables. But he set himself out the criteria of not using any kind of fasteners and not using any kind of glue. So it was all mechanical joinery made from the wood itself. And it was a nice design challenge. Came up with a slightly different side table with a nice craftsman style look to it. It's worth checking out. I think the best episode to start out on is actually one of the last ones, the 13th one, where he shows you how he finished it, and he smoothed it all out and assembled it. And in that video you can see all of the intricate joinery and all the work went into it. And then you can go back out and pick out which episodes for each little part that you like the best to learn a little bit more. James Wright, Wood by Wright. You'll enjoy the video.